From Senegal to Sugar Hill, trace the bloodline. 100 years of brilliance through the color line. They thought the shackles broke but kept the mental chain. Langston penned the future while they legislated pain. Harlem's ballrooms birthed the cosmos in mahogany, while lynching trees still decorated southern botany. Josephine, Waker's pearls, and Garvey's Navy ships. Du Bois debating destiny with scholarship on his lips. The Renaissance was a renaissance, it was resistance, fam. Every trumpet blast from Armstrong was a battering ram. They gave us minstrel shows, we gave them Sora Neal. Turned depression into art, made the fabricated real. Cotton Club excluded us from tables every set. To form the Deanest Nightly, never free from the debt. But Bessie Smith could shatter glass, shatter cash, shatter lies. Every note she sang contained a revolution in the sky. Build temples from the rubble, make cathedrals from the struggle. Turn the margins to the center, now they study what we scribble. We build temples from the rubble, every generation double. The inheritance of genius that they try to keep us from. Fast forward through the decades, watch the pattern reassemble. Malcolm's speeches, Martin's marches, every voice begins to tremble to the earth until the structure shows its fractures. FBI was tracking every coon with every pastor, every actor. 40 acres never came but 40 minutes on a stage. To reconvene your consciousness and channelize the rage. From bebop to hip-hop, the fool lines mathematical. Each generation weaponized the beautiful, the radical. They gave us Reagan out as crack and mass incarceration. We gave them Public Enemy and blueprints for liberation. The Harlem Renaissance never ended, just evolved its form. Every freestyle cipher is a brainstorm, is a storm. Where the children of the talented, the tenth that was prophesied, inherit the fire that the water couldn't wash aside. They tried to write us out the narrative. We offered all on text, 100 years of proof, and that we're destined. Where was next? Temples from the rubble, made cathedrals from the struggle. Turned the margins to the center, now they study what we scribble. We built temples from the rubble, every generation double. The inheritance of genius that they tried to keep us from.
All right, this is, and you are Under the Groove. Welcome to Under the Groove Podcast, everybody. Grand rising, peace, and prosperity to each and every one of you. It's a good look to see that, we're here again today. Another day, man. Another day that we can, have some appreciation for it. Let's put it like that. Appreciate your time above ground, y'all. It's a good look when we do. Once we recognize it, hey, man, we made it. And a lot can't say the same. Let's put it like that. Leave it at that. But here we are. It's a good fit. All right. It's a good fit. A lot going on in the world. Don't a day go by where with some BS ain't happening, right? I mean, it's always something, It could look good for a hot second or two, and the next thing you know, for the next few hours, some days and weeks, it's all bad. That's the way of the world, the state of the world, man. It's always something. And the coldest part about that, we caught right smack dab in the middle of this shit. Let's call it what it is, man. We caught up in this, and we ain't got no say in it. We don't have say in our own lives. How the hell we gonna have any say with what's going on around the world? Now had to. The circumstances, were they different, where we had say in what we do each and every day of our lives? Yeah, we could step out there on the world stage, man, and dictate, direct, guide some people, man. But until then, shit, the old saying, get in where you fit in. And we go by that. We take that literally. A lot of our people get hold of them, grab them reins and ride that horse to the ground, man. They getting in where they fit in and don't give a dang about what's being said in terms of what they're doing, especially when they know what they're doing ain't right, But there that is, man. There that is. The hope is one day we can change, the course of the people, put us in a better position, not just a better light, but a better position. And again, the reason for that, it's for all those youngsters, them sons, daughters, them grandbabies and great grandbabies coming up behind all of us. What we gonna leave them? What's gonna be here waiting on them when their time comes, to stand up in the world or, be a part of what they call civilization? That should really frighten everybody, man. To know that the world we living in is whack. Is just shot to hell, man. And not only that, but our people ain't contributed a zip dang thing to anything. We haven't dropped anything for the world, let alone ourselves, that could indicate or would indicate that we're on the right track if no one else is, you know. So it should frighten a lot of us, man, in terms of what, you know, our offspring, you know, what those who, you know, who are coming up behind us are going to inherit, you know. Hey, man, that's some scary stuff. Think about it. Think about it. And yeah, you know, there are some families, and you know, they work towards, you know, a more productive life, a life more unified in the culture, blackness, you know, things of that nature. You know, but that's so few and far between, man, that, you know, it almost like it doesn't even scratch the surface in terms of what needs to be done as far as black folk are concerned, as far as, you know, us be professing, claiming to be these people. We're not doing nothing that would indicate that we are these people. Nothing in the sense where we're doing it together. And I mean on a grand scale. You know, again, yeah, there are patches. There are patchworks of, you know, groups of our people trying to, you know, establish something. You know, we got to applaud them for that, recognize that, and support them as best we can. Because, you know, you'd like to think that because of that support, because we recognize they're there, then whatever it is they're doing will expand, you know, it becomes stronger and greater. So yeah, there that is. But on a whole, we are so discombobulated and disjointed. You know, there's no unity, man, and it's a scary, scary outlook. Yeah, and that's just my take on it, people. But that being said, again, I just want to put out there in the atmosphere peace and prosperity, unity to the people. Here we are. Let's get it in. This is Under the Groove Podcast, and we are touching bases with the people. All right. That's what that is, man. I don't know if y'all noticed, I've been dropping them names down there. The RGC is up in that thing, and it looked like it's a good look. It worked, you know. You know, the more they come, the more would be added to this get down. But anyway, here we go, man. James, what's happening? I see you. How's that tooth? How's that tooth? I like to think that you're gonna get them sweets. You know, sweets your thing. You're gonna get them sweets a break for at least another week or two, right? No cakes, pies, candy, ice cream. You're going to get at a rest for a minute. I like to think that. Yeah, I was rushing to get in here, y'all. That's why I'm, you know, I'm perspiring, but it, you know, got that air on, so it should cool me off in a hot second. But yeah, James, good to see you up in here, bro. Appreciate you as always being present, you know, front and center. Same go for you, B60M. I see you. And I did get the text message on the live with the sister. All right. You going to say greetings and salutations to you, Bub, and the RGC B1. Black first, everybody. Black first. All right, James, there you go. Break it down for us. Jay Stone, I see you. James say, hey, man, I feel all right today. I hit the Shaw and got my ride on Broadway, Long Beach Boulevard, Compton Avenue, Compton Avenue Central, straight grooving. All right. There you go, man. There you go. Out and about. I had my bike sitting up in the back today. You know, went to start it up and everything. I go out there a little while ago, man, and somebody that put a ticket. Well, it wasn't a ticket. It was a warning on my bike. Like, hey, man, you know, it's not an alley. It's like a cul-de-sac. You know what I mean? It's not a through alley. It's a cul-de-sac, you know, and we're at the end of it, which is great, I think, for us. A lot of space right back there. We, you know, put all, you know, most of what we put back there. And, you know, I parked the bikes back there. Man, I go back there, man, there's a warning. Like, hey, this will be a ticket next time. I'm like, okay, man, I got to catch that cat, whoever that was. You know, give him a piece of my mind. This is not an alley. It's a cul-de-sac, man. You know, it's formed like one, but it's not a through. You know, it don't go from one end to there's no exit. There's an entrance, but no exit. So I go, hey, man, and I had this issue before some years back, and I hadn't heard anything until today. I saw that little notice. But yeah, I intend to get out, man. I keep saying it, but I know at some point I jump on that thing, man. You know, leave here, go to LA, man, get my ride on, touch a few locations like you did, just, be out and about on that thing. Summer is approaching. I like to think that I'll be able to enjoy it. My wife and I, and those of you who, see the summer as, a time and opportunity to get out and enjoy, the sunshine, enjoy the people, who acting right. We like to think that that's going to be available to us. I would like to think that as well. I've just got this thing in my mind. My thought is that, man, let summertime be all right. Let it be one of them summers for once where we ain't got no bunch of drama. I like to get out, man, and mingle and see the people, So I'm looking forward to that. Regardless, I'm going to look forward to it, But yeah, good to hear that you out there, James. That's a good look, man. That's the way you're supposed to be, man. Especially when you got them low lows, man. You got to get them things out there. You say life is short and time is flying. Enjoy that shit. Keep it positive and loving. Appreciate and embrace your people. Stay sucker free, because not everyone that look like us is down with us. G, tell the truth, shame the devil. Queen Nzinga 74 said, midweek blessings to the kings and queens in the Royal Group congregation. Always good to be present and hear what the chat has in store for us. Be one, that red, black, and green, man. Be one, black first, everybody. Black first. Much love right back to you, James. I see you though, bro. You said thank you for being the 0.1% on YouTube, representing us and doing right for us, the black people. Because I can tell you, big dog, them sucker platforms is a disgrace, like those who watch them. We had that conversation last night about the platforms and what they're doing, but we got to, I think, the crux of the issue, and that is the people who subscribe, who go in wanting to be entertained, but I think the part of the problem with that is that those, and I think it's more youth, the youth are really into this social media stuff, man. And I think for the most part that they really believe and trust what they see on YouTube. And not only that, but their goal, their objective is to spread that. They want to be seen out there just being ignorant. You know how this shit go, man. Y'all see this stuff just like everybody else. But that's entertainment, man. These youngsters are absorbing this stuff, man. And most of these cats, it's proven every day, right, that most of these cats are not who they say they are, and that's some cold stuff. You got these cats pushing this propaganda, pushing this mess, man, on the people and on the youth, to come to find out these cats ain't built like that, and I'm not saying, we should glorify those who are, you know what I mean? Because it's all a bad look, especially if we're portraying it in such a light where we're putting it out there as entertainment. That's bad, man. That's what I mean by that. And it's bad because these kids are seeing it and don't know how to compartmentalize entertainment, fiction, nonfiction from fiction. You know what I mean? What's real and what's fake. A lot of them get hold of it, and before you know it, either bad news then beat them home in any respect, or in those two respects that matter most, or a rude awakening, is boom, it lands upon them in such a way it's like, oh, and there's more trauma, another mind is messed up as a result. This stuff that they're putting out, man, on social media, man, this stuff that's going on the street that they bring to social media and they air for entertainment is dangerous stuff. There are a lot of individuals, young and old, who don't play that stuff, and they don't have to be gang affiliated. You know what I mean? You got brothers, and we say this all the time, brothers and sisters who don't play, and they not attached to nobody's street. You know what I mean? These individuals are not playing. They see how serious this stuff is. And you get people who become so entertained or engrossed with this stuff, that's put out over social media, that they fail to realize that, hey, man, everybody don't play like this, and they get these rude awakenings if they awake at all. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean by, entertainment For those who put this out there as entertainment, they're doing the people a disservice. You know, I don't care about what do they call those? The disclaimers. You know, so that tells me, well, one, okay, oh, I got to follow the law in order to do this. One, but two, you know that this stuff is poison, and yet you do it anyway. You know, and yet you do it anyway. Again, I'd like to see how any of them would react if it was their own caught up in this get down. But you ain't even got to wait for that, because most of these cats who put this stuff out here, they're being exposed every day. Every day, something is coming out. And you know, and the coldest part about all this is that once these individuals are exposed, then they go all out. You know, they spaz out, they crash out. You know, and there's a twofold benefit in that, I think, or a come up. You know, these are grifters, man. They spaz out and they do it for more clicks. It's more, you know, clickbait, you know. And the coldest part about it is when these dudes are exposed, those who subscribe to this stuff stay subscribed even when they find out that these cats are phonies. You know, what's worse, even when they find out that these cats, they won't just sell us down the river, they sell their mamas down the river for a bag. But you have people still logging in, you know, tapping in, you know, showing up, subscribing to this poison. So, you know, it's not the platform, YouTube, No Jumper, VLAD, or these individuals who's putting this mess out there. It's the individuals who's tapping in, who are aiding and abetting the problem. Those are the ones. So I get what you're saying, James. I appreciate that, man. The fact that you even put that out there like that, it needed to be said. It's the people. And again, that goes not just to what we see taking place on social media in terms of how social media actually harms the community and the individuals in it, but that goes also to the government and those who we know are working against us daily. The trip is, it's the same thing. We know they're doing this, and yet we continue to allow it to happen or be a part of it or whatever the case. We're not being accountable. We're not being accountable, but we want to point fingers and complain and blame other people when we have the ability, the capacity, the wherewithal to change a whole lot of stuff if we just decide to do it. If we just choose to do it, man, we could change the world, all right? But especially our circumstance. If no one else's, we could change ours. That's what I say, all right? But yeah, I appreciate you saying that, man. For those who watch, you are the problem. For those who stay subscribed, you are the problem. You know? And again, there aren't enough of us who speak truth to power in terms of what we know is taking place in our communities, in terms of what we know is being transmitted into the minds of our people. You know, we know there are so many of them, but not enough of us who can counteract all this BS we see going on, man. You know, we're the cure. We just don't have a dosage strong enough, man, to, you know what I'm saying, cure our people and help our people get over this madness, you know, this sickness, you know. So I imagine that's a work in progress. I'm just one of many. You know, they're out there. The algorithm will hide us, you know, to any extent will hide us, you know, or will not let us in or play ball, so to speak. And that's fine. You know, that only means that we just have to keep, you know, have to work harder, you know, work harder. You know, anything worth having is worth working for. You know, we need to work towards having unity, man, and understand, or having dignity and pride about ourselves. Let me move on. But I appreciate you for that, James. That's a good look, bro. Jay Stone. Yeah, I got to put you in the get down, my brother. How you doing, loved one? Yes. Peace and prosperity to you, bro. Good to see you up in this get down with us, man. What up with me, man? Hey, same old same, man. Different day, man. Another journey, you know, trying to make sure that, you know, I stay afloat, that, you know, as a result of that, those I love, I'm helping them in some capacity to do the same. You know, want to make sure every day I get up, I ain't in nobody's mess, man. You know, I'm not adding to the problem. I want to be some of what is the solution. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's happening with me. And what about yourself? What have you done today, man, that's worthwhile, worth speaking about, man? Let me know what to do, bro. Let me know what to do. Yeah. What's going to be there? Debt. Yeah. You know, when they grow up, yeah, what debt is just one of them. One of the issues they'll have to face. You know, debt on, you know, on a government level, financial, you know, yeah, debt. But yeah, I think that I think that's the least of their worries. You know what I mean? That's just my thought, you know, and I have a reason for saying that. You know, debt is something we can do away with, you know, and all that takes is a little understanding, a little knowledge. We can go and get rid of debt. You know what I mean? In fact, we can separate ourselves from the system that actually we can separate ourselves from the system that is based and built upon debt. You know what I mean? That, you know, we ain't had nothing to do with from the beginning. But you know, debt is the least of our worries. However, it is and it will become an issue, because if the nation's debt continue to go like it did, yeah, man, they're going to be in a deeper hole than we are now in the next 10, 15 years. It's, hey, man, there's a lot of work to be done. But yeah, that's just one instance or circumstance they'll be faced with. You know, again, I think more than anything else, it's the identity of the people, you know, that they're going to have to actually, you know, it's something they're going to have to deal with in the very, very near future. You know, the identity of the people, you know, and that means a lot. That encompasses a whole lot. You know, most of them, you know, don't know what they should or need to know, just, you know, just to prop themselves up in the respect where they know their history. They can tell anybody, you know, and who would ask or who would doubt who they are. You know, they can carry their own weight, you know, based upon the foundation that was set before them. You know, they can stand on it, you know, erect, you know, very strong, knees not buckling, and hey, man, walk across this thing like they supposed to. You know, they can graduate to a higher level. You know, there's a lot going on, man, with our people, and I'm telling you, in the near future, if we don't get together, that which is going on right now is going to decimate us. It's going to decimate us, and you know, a lot of what we see is just part of that program or that process. You know, our moral fibers being, you know, it's just being unraveled, man. It is, you know, it's there and non-existent, you know. And I'm telling you guys, once they get rid of that, and they're working on it, you see it every day. Hey, once they get rid of that, man, you know, where people ain't got no dignity and no pride about what they do, man, hey, it's over. I was just hearing today that, you know, there are a couple of things. What's going on in Texas? There's a real live epidemic, and it's sexually transmitted epidemic. All right, people going down there, man, and it ain't taking a week or two. The next day, boom, you know, and it ain't just ST. Yeah, there are, but it's HIV and AIDS. I mean, full blown AIDS. It's going down. What that speaks to is the promiscuity of our people, you know, not just our women, but our men too. You know what I mean? And the fact that, okay, if you're going to be promiscuous, strap up, you know? So now there's this thing, I imagine, where the women are saying, no, I don't want that, you know, that irritates me or whatever. And dudes say, oh, I want the real feeling myself anyway, you know? And so ain't no protection being, you know, utilized. And as a result, this is what we're seeing. And I'm telling you, this is not, listen, man, this is how they function. And I don't mean our people being promiscuous like they. I'm talking about those who actually run everything, those who sit in them think tanks and put this shit together daily. Don't a day go by where they not sitting down, man, trying to orchestrate something that would give them leverage, you know. every day. Anyway, but that's part of this get down. Anyway, that is happening. That's occurring over there. They have a full-blown epidemic, man. And they say it's in Houston and or Fort Worth. But just come on, man. You just had the spring break thing, and ain't no telling what was going on. They said that the other thing was, and this, it's kind of a segue. Sisters now, and I don't like, discussing sisters for a lot of reasons, but anyway, I have to say this. Sisters now are out there almost just literally naked. Like it's the thing to do, again, no pride, no dignity, no self-respect, so our sisters are suffering also psychologically and spiritually, you have to say, for them to stoop to these levels we see sisters stooping to. So this adds to this get down. So, that is the enticement, they walking them down these streets, spring break, somebody was saying, hey man, listen, it's all bad. It's all bad, man. We're losing. We are losing. We are losing. And not only that, man. So, with this going on, that means that's going to affect, it affects a whole lot, especially in terms of health and proliferation. We got to think in terms of that, we have to. And I'm not, I'm just saying. But yeah, that is, man. Texas is a hot zone, it's a hot zone, man, and not in ways or, in terms people would take that to mean. No, it's hot to where you ain't just getting burned. Your ass gonna be fried. You getting crisp, it's so hot, man. Blisters are popping all over your face and your body, man, 24 hours later, or maybe even less. That's how bad it is. And again, sisters are out there being a part of the problem. Again, no self-respect, no dignity or nothing, man. It's just, you think they was on the blade, on Fig, you would think they were on Fig, man. That's how bad it is. Something got to be done. But yeah, man, a whole lot going on, man. A whole lot going on. And I'm telling you, we ain't got the ammunition or the weaponry, man, to take care of those who are coming up behind us. They're going to be in a bad way if we don't figure out how to get our stuff together. That being said, let me move on. All right. Yeah, James, he said, yes, bub, man, no sweets until May or June. That's, summertime, you're going to want that ice cream, though. I'm pretty sure of that. Antonio, what it do, loved one? All right. Salute. Jay Stone says, man, the wars are designed to make those that are in power stay there. Let me repeat that. Appreciate that comment right there, Jay Stone. The wars are designed to make those that are in power stay there and to drive lower classes lower, in my opinion. Your opinion seems to be spot on. You hit the nail on the head. Yeah, there's a reason for that, for real. Not only that, but the war don't, wars don't serve the lower class or the poor in no form of fashion, man. The lower class are nothing but fodder for those who are in power who start wars. You know what I'm saying? Wars are mostly about hegemony, control, again, and power, like you said, resources, trying to take something from somebody, trying to run somebody, they never actually serve the people. Everything that Donald Trump said, hey, we're going to take Venezuela's oil. Oh, and it's going to make us rich. Who is us? Who is he talking about? Venezuela has the largest oil reserves in the world. And yet gas prices in the United States is up over $1 in every state. In some states more than $1. I know it's more than $1 here, then went up more than $1. But okay, how does make that make sense? You took a country's oil. You have access to it, and you said this just recently, they bringing oil over here, refining, doing what they're doing to it, on a daily. And yet the American people are still suffering at the pump. That come on, man. That's all cap. And, you know. Anyway, so who getting rich? Who's that serve? I'm pretty sure they'll say, oh, we're going to put so much in the strategic reserves. Yeah, but what about the rest of it? You know? Yeah, wars don't serve nobody but the rich. And in fact, yeah, it creates a situation where the poor remain poor. You know, so those who end up getting caught up in a war zone, everything they own or have is decimated or destroyed. So it's almost like, being born all over again. You got to learn how to crawl before you can walk. You got to rebuild your life. You set back 10 years. Come on, man. Come on, man. And why these fat cats are sitting up, man, and posh residences, and these just immaculate luxury, these offices, man, that just, man, these offices, some of them go into, man, to do their work. You talking about luxury, man? Shit. They don't have a worry in the world. They don't have a worry in the world. Like Jay Stone said, it's going to be us on the low rung of the ladder who will suffer. That's just the way it is. It's the way it's been. And for a very, very long time. For a very long time, Yeah, so I don't know, man. Yeah, it's all done to make the rich richer and the poor poorer. Now, I've been doing some research in terms of the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. This AI thing is the real deal in terms of what it's going to do to the workforce. It will decimate the workforce. In fact, it has already begun. It has already begun. And this ain't about fear mongering. This is about, okay, a couple of brothers said, Pope Mitchell, for one, he said, man, AI can work for us. And I get what he was saying. I respect also what he said. And I'm thinking what he meant was, hey, man, we need to get into that field. We need to get an understanding of it so that at some point, at some stage, we acquire certain skills about that we can use to help us, because most of these jobs, you guys, are going to be snatched from under us. The white collar first. And well, some aspects to blue collar as well, and they're already leaving. Those jobs are already being replaced by AI systems. Facts, man. Check your news out, man. Check out what Oracle is doing, Amazon, check them out. Check out these companies that produce or manufacture, who create AI, Planeteer, Open AI, Bill Gates' company. Hey, man, they got a plan, man, that'll blow our minds, man, if we knew the full extent of it. We're only getting the tip of the iceberg, but it has nothing to do with us. I had someone in the comments say to me, man, that don't make sense that they would take all the jobs. Then what are we going to do? I mean, they got a plan for that too, and that's control. That's control. If we watch, again, we talked about this, damn, it's just so many segue. I mean, just so many instances that when we talk about things that lead to other things, which is a segue. When we watch certain movies, we're watching art imitating life, and I'm telling you guys, what we're watching in film is giving us more than an indication of what's to come. It's a warning. It's a warning of what's to come, and I'm telling you, it's out there. It's smack dab in our faces. We don't see it though. As long as the rich can continue to be rich, and millionaires will become a thing of the past as well. If you're not in the tens of billions, you're not even going to be able to do what it is you think you're doing. And in fact, those who are millionaires are really the ones who just provide certain jobs. Private companies provide jobs for the millionaires serve the billionaires, man. The middle class serve the millionaires, man. The poor serve the middle class, and they always talk about, oh, there's the rich and the middle class. They totally forget about the poor. They always have. They don't mention politicians when they campaign. They do not mention the poor. If they do, it's very, you barely hear it. It's always the middle class. The poor doesn't really register. This is why you see a lot of governments on this, on the local, on the city level, the state level, just local government. They snatch programs where the federal government does that. Some states take back programs, eliminate programs that they know the poor need. All this thing is done. It's all done in a process that's all intertwined. That's what I'm saying. All right. So war is a part of this process. AI coming into the game is a part of this process. It will serve the rich. It will serve the rich. And we want to think that, okay, man, they can't run this without people. Da, 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 da. Oh, what are people going to do? They don't care what people are going to do now. They haven't cared about what people were going to do 20 years ago, man. They paint a good picture, Sometimes they throw us bones. But they never cared, you know what I mean? So the Matrix is also a good example of what's to come. Oh, the probability of AI taking over. All right. So I said that long enough. Let me move on, man. But Jay Stone, your point is made. I appreciate you jumping in here, bro. I ain't seen you in a minute, man. Love the fact that you're back. I need to know if it's okay to put you in the RGC lineup, man. You my bro. I was sitting up looking at our pictures the other day, bro. Corcoran. Oh man. Anyway, again, man, peace and prosperity, bro. Love your presence in the get out. All right. James said, I agree, Brother Bub. I would love to see a 70s type summer again. Not no hot summers like we know them, but our people in the parks and on the street just having a good time, getting along for real. Yeah, that's something that we miss, man. That's something that we miss. We have to admit that. I can even recall, even with Shitwell, before I left to do a life sentence, certain nights you could still, cruise up and down certain streets, go in certain communities, you know what I mean? We used to do it all the time. We hit Crenshaw, wasn't looking for no funk, wasn't looking for no funk, we out, just trying to enjoy the day and the night, summer weather, things have changed though, things have changed, but hitting amusement parks, man, the beaches, I don't see, you rarely see our folk having spreads where the family come together. I don't like saying the word picnic, but anyway, having these spreads and these family reunions and stuff, that used to be something we seen a lot of back in the day. You very rarely see those now, that's not to say they don't happen, but they're not as many, occurring now than it used to be a decade to 3 decades ago. So yeah, it'd be nice to have one of those summers where our people was out there, man, and everybody nodding, that respectful nod. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody, you left all your BS on your set, you decided, hey, I just want to get out today and enjoy the sun and the people. You know what I mean? That'd be nice. That'd be nice. I'm gonna look forward to it too, James. That's just me, man. I would love to do that. All right, Gangsta Deezy. You say facts, Groove. Right. And that's what this is about, man. Everything is above board here, man. Everything is above board, man. Ain't nothing underneath, nothing underhanded. No disrespect. It's all love and respect. Facts. If I miss a fact and I ain't being factual, the RGC already know what to do. Respectfully. You dig? And that's the beauty of this get out. So appreciate you acknowledging that, Gangsta Daisy. All right, Poke, what it do? You say top above, peace to the UG, to the UTG and the RGC. Right back to you, Black Fist, hell high, bro. All ears, are you? There you go. Hey, man, peace, prosperity, love, and respect, Poke. You already know. Queen Nzinga said, I agree, Jay Stone. The Black community suffer the loss from their wars due to system economic disparities. Hey, And again, like most of these wars aren't for the benefit of the people, you know, in no form or fashion. They are not for the benefit of the people, man. The people never benefit from a war, though. You already know the propaganda is always for, national defense and for the American way of life. And I've yet to know Iran to affect the American way of life. I've known the American way of life to have affected other countries and people, but hey, I'm just saying, the stuff they do don't serve us. Again, it's for the rich, it's for the powerful. That's who it serves. Yeah. Yeah, Queen, you right about that. Queen and Zinga said, man, the wars, yeah, we suffer the loss from their wars due to the system's economic disparities. If we had any sense, again, so now we're talking about what? I don't know, for those who trust that voting really means something, you ought to be upset. You ought to be upset. Well, first, if you actually trust the system, the voting system, voting in, politicians, rich people, well, they're richer than us. Let's get that understood right now. Most of these politicians who are voted in office already have millions of dollars. We're in careers or, certain government agencies, certain firms, certain major corporations, and they made a pretty penny. Now, I'm not blaming them for, went and getting that education and finding the end and whatnot. I'm saying, though, as politicians, they're already rich. So I think therefore, there's already a disconnect. There's already a disconnect. I don't care what nobody say, if he's black, white, red, yellow, or brown. You are not relating to, you're not on that level. You can't, you can't understand it. And for those who came from the dirt and reached higher echelons of government or whatever, man, they've totally forgotten, or they don't give a damn because they got out and they ain't going back. They ain't finna help no ninja up out of that situation. The thought is, I got myself out, get yourself out. I'm willing to wager on that. But most of these people are rich. Most of these people are rich. And before their tenure is up, they are richer. So I'm saying that for those who trust the voting process, you ought to be upset. But then let's put the cart before the horse. Call your representative, your congressperson, your city council per whatever, and get on their neck. Demand some things to change. Push. Now, I'm saying this for a reason. I'm suggesting you do that just so that you can see that what you're talking about to them don't mean jack. They ain't going to do it. They ain't going to do it. They ain't going to do it. Their thought is you was the sucker. I just wanted to get in here. You bought into this political system thinking voting would do this, that, and the third. I'm not doing nothing until re-election time. Then I'll start making some change. I'll do this, do a little that, make it look good. But y'all can't even call that man and demand that they stop accepting PAC money, APAC money, Jack Street money, Kufu money, Jack Pack money. These are all Israeli lobbyists, lobbyists, they lobby for the Israeli regime. So they pretty much control what comes on the floor, what these people vote for. These people that you voted to get in office, they're being dictated to through money to vote for things that serve not us, but them over there. So yeah, try that on for size. Most of these people are rich, though. They're not going to care a flying flick about what you say until re-election. And their objective then is to convince you all over again to buy into their con. That's it. That's all, man. So yeah, all this stuff is set up. It's set up, man, to defeat us. It's set up to keep us in the position we're in. Again, from the state, from the city level, state to federal, it's all a con, man. And poor people, you ain't got no love, man, from none of them. I don't care what nobody say. I hope I didn't lose my place in there, but that, yeah, I think I stuck to it. Raymond, hey, Raymond Sco, what it do? Peace, prosperity, you and the Rays, your family as well. Good to see you up in here, loved one. You say peace to you, bub. Shout out to the brothers and sisters in the RGC, the Royal Group Congregation. Yeah. That's a good look. Good to see you, my brother. All right, Donald Davis. All right. Show and tell, brother. Front center. Appreciate seeing you again. You say, what up, brother Bub? What up with you, loved one? What have you done today? Worth speaking about. How have you improved your lot in life? You know, what it do? There you go. What it do, Al? I gotta write that down because I gotta make sure everybody's thing is right in to get down. How you doing, loved one? Al Thomas says salutations, Bub, and Queen and Zinga. Peace and blessings to you and the entire UTG and RGC. I hope everyone had a prosperous day. All right. B1 equals black first across the board, you guys. Peace and prosperity. That grand rising occurs, y'all. I'm telling you, we ought to be on a mission. First and foremost, let's make sure our day is planned out well, you know. And if you winging it, look for them signs, you know. Keep that head on swivel. You know what I'm saying? Your objective is to make it through the day while at the same time trying to get something. Trying to get something out today, man. That's the goal. All right. Yeah, man. Appreciate you up in here, Al, as always, bro. You know, our thoughts go out to you and your family, man. The young ones, especially, you know. Stay on it. Stay the course, bro. Stay the course. Oh, B60 jumped in here, man. B60 said, man, the STD problem has been going on for quite some time, up and down I-20. Yeah, and you got a point there. I first heard about it maybe 6 months ago, and I thought, you know, well, the impression was it was bad then. So if it was bad 6 months ago, then yeah, it was bad 6 months prior to that, probably even longer. It's in the news more now. And see, here's the thing about the people, man. Again, this social media stuff, they're using this as entertainment. Those who are suffering as a result of their promiscuity, let's call it what it is, we got a lot of horn dogs, and got a lot, them things be hot and popping, snapping, So they're using this though, I'm telling y'all what I've seen, not to inform or educate, but to entertain, but to entertain. They're dropping this content as entertainment, and I say that because even if they say, hey, y'all be careful out there, this is what's happening, that's being informative, and you can get this by, having unprotected sex. That's educational. I get it. But that's just so minute in the whole scope of it, because that 5-10 seconds is overlapped by 15 minutes of just, downright exposure, but in the sense of entertaining, making light of the shit, actually, making light of it, man. And I'm telling you, this is the problem with our people. We'll put anything on social media, but we'll do it in such a way to where it's not helpful. It's more harmful than it is helpful, rather, I don't know, man. I'd say rather than, expose and exploiting these people, or these people exposing or exploiting themselves, first thing they need to do, or should have been doing, is going to get medical attention. That's it. That's it. And then if you're going to express or be informative or educational in terms of what occurred or happened to you, man, do it in such a way to where it's, come on, man. You're not making light of this. It's not entertainment. This should not be entertaining to anyone, but that shit is going on. And again, like I say, I just heard today the behavior of the sisters in Texas. It's unhinged. They are unhinged. It's off the chain. We used to say that back in the day. It's off the chain. It was described to me in such a manner that immediately my thought, you know, what I envisioned was Sister's own Figueroa. You know, that's what I envisioned, you know. So, hey man, this stuff, yeah, it ain't new, especially the STD aspect of it. When they drop AIDS, HIV on us, when they first hit us with syphilis back then, the Tuskegee experience. Listen, man, ain't none of this shit new. Even in terms of how they experiment on us, you know, they didn't tell us our people back then what they were really doing. It's some song and dance, you know, made them trust them. They're not going to tell us today what they're doing. You know, they're not going to tell somebody we gave them something and we didn't tell them what we gave them, but we know what we gave them. You know, they're not going to, you know, let somebody know that they walk the streets with diseases, you know, biohazards on a gloved hand, touch people, excuse me, send that person away, not knowing that they've been infected. You know, all kind of ways they do this shit, man. It's nothing new. It's nothing new. You know, again, when they hit us with AIDS, and the shit they said in terms of how it came to be, you know, and I have to say, I thought about that stuff, man, and I said, man, them Greeks back then, them Romans, they would cornholing each other, man, like it was nobody's business. They were pedos, man, also. Bathhouses, you know, take them, you know, them young ones with them, you know, on wars just for that service. Come on, man. So why wasn't it then? Cornholing, why wasn't it then? Well, as far as we know, well, I don't know. That's probably a stretch. I was going to say Black Death could have been that, as far as we know, but that's probably a stretch. So I won't throw that in the mix. But they were doing these how can I ungodly acts, man, back in the day, man, and they didn't have them epidemics, them viral epidemics, as far as we know, right? You know, and that was on the regular. That was their culture. Come on, man. Then it hit in the 80s, and all of a sudden it's, you know, the blacks, you know, and monkeys and oh man, come on. Now here we have it again. It's resurging. It never really went anywhere. You know what I mean? It never really went anywhere. And they're always experimenting on us. COVID is an example of that. You know, they are always, you know, it's always going to be something, man. So the thing to do in terms of this stuff, man, we see on social media, especially those who want to drop this as content, man, be responsible, be accountable, man. Don't, come on. It's not what we do, it's how we do it. You know, that matters. That matters a great deal. That matters a great deal. You know, just like it's not what we say, but how we say it. All that matters, you know. But we got brothers and sisters, they will post this stuff as entertainment. Again, back to what we do. We don't have no morals, no scruples, no print, nothing. And we post it as entertainment. People in blogs. You don't post it as, you know, health alert. You know, for real, you know, it's, you know, come on, man. So, you know, we got to be careful. Though it's been in B60M say, hey, man, you know, this been an ongoing problem for quite some time, up and down the I-20. You know, hey, if that's the case, my advice to anybody passing through Texas is staying a night or two. Hey, man, avoid the coochie. You know, and women avoid, you know, this white. Keep pushing. Keep pushing. You know, in fact, I don't know. I would warn you or suggest that if anybody's traveling to Texas, you want to know who's going where now. Where you been? You know, You know, in a lot of ways, we have to police ourselves, man. You know, just to stay safe. That's some cold stuff. Because we don't know what these people are doing. We don't know, you know. But thanks for that info, though, B60M. I didn't know it was up and down I-20. So what's next? Who next door to these? Man, Texas, Oklahoma. Shit, man, Louisiana. Then coming on back this way. Shit, New Mexico, Arizona. Oh, shit. Well, y'all better be careful. Y'all better be careful. Shit. All right, let's move on. All right. Hold on, everybody. Hold on. What it do, bro? I'm great. How about yourself? You there? Yeah. All right. And let me hit you back. I'm doing a live right now, okay? All right, I will. All right, bro. One love. All right. Sorry about that, everybody. I wanted to take that call. You know, I wanted to take that call. One of our brothers, you know, I wanted to talk to him, see how he was doing, you know. I hadn't talked to him in a minute. Anyway, yeah, you know, this is what it is, y'all. We got to do the work, man. We have to do the work. Lisa Moore say, hey, big bro, blessings to you and the family. Peace and love and the kings and queens in the chat. B1 is black first, y'all. And that's the part of this get down we talking about. We have to be first, man, in everything. Everything we do, we got to consider blackness as a part of that get down, you know. And I don't mean to disregard self, the individual, because again, we say this all the time. Individually, we have to have our together in order to be, you know, be about blackness, you know, on a whole, you know what I mean? So yeah, man. B1. Poke said, Bub, I hate to bring up gangs, but more and us now are denouncing the gang culture. Okay, Bub, I hate to bring up gangs, but more of us are now denouncing the gang culture because we know now that it has set us back even further, making it hard to climb out of the hole we've put ourselves in. Continue, but that we put ourselves in, we put a lot on the youngsters, but we all in the gang culture at one time had G homies who were righteous and that we listened to. Not trying to rub the G homies wrong, but a lot of them have let certain things go without standing up and fixing it. Like I said, and when in the joint, I respected and listened to G's from all over LA. I just felt like as a whole, we are being selective with doing the right thing, but we were once a culture that pushed as one. How do you think and feel about what I'm trying to say? Okay, there. Let me go back to where you started. That way I don't lose left. Hey man, I'm an advocate of those originals who were part of the inception, the formation, the foundation of this thing, you know, this gang culture, Crip, Blood, or Hoover. I'm an advocate of them coming back to the neighborhood. That's for those who have left it, who have elevated and got their lives together. Come give back. You can't give back everything you took from it, but come give something back, man. Come back to the communities, man, that you come from, that you helped decimate at some point in time. So there's no, listen, at some point in time, even in the inception of that stuff, something was done that shouldn't have been done to another brother because he wasn't from there. It's, you know, it was red or blue or whatever. You know what I mean? The point is, you know better than most how you contributed to the decimation of the community. The decimating of the community. You know, I can't speak to that, but I know that any of you guys that started this before, a lot of us, you know, you guys, you know, I can't speak to it, but you know, we could surmise or guess that you've been through youth authority, you've been through the penitentiary, county jail, you know, juvenile hall, you've been through it. For what? Something had to land you there. Was it against the community? You know what I mean? And if that's the case, then this is what is being asked of you, brothers and sisters. Took something from the community, you know, and whatever that was, you know, it's you can't give it back, but bring something back to the community. Bring yourselves back. That's a start. Bring yourselves back in a capacity where you're saying you know, you're paying something forward, man, that's going to help those in the mess that you guys started. You know, that's you know, that's all I would have to say to this. You know what I mean? I'm after the fact. You know, I'm after the fact. You know, we started running the streets, calling ourselves gang banging in 1977. That's after the fact. You know, facts are that when we started, yeah, there was some structure. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. You know, we've seen some things, you know, you know, I've seen some things, man. So that's why I'm able to say what I'm saying. But after you guys left the situation, yeah, man, you left with all the structure. They, you know, they packed that up and took that with you guys as well. You know what I mean? So, you know, what we contributed to, you know, the community in terms of tearing it down, we need to answer for as well, you know. But here I am. I'm just making a suggestion. I'm not even trying to be the top guy in this. I'm just being the guy, a man saying, hey man, I know where I messed up at. I know where I'm at fault at. How can I do better? You know, how can I give something back in terms of what I took? You know? So no, I'm not the example. I'm following examples. You dig? I'm following examples, and you brothers were examples. People followed y'all. Here's an opportunity to be an example. Again, you know, to lead, you know, to something, man, way greater than, you know, we see as a result of what you laid in terms of foundation or what you left behind. You know, let's bring something different to the table, man. That's my take on that. I don't have a problem with saying that. You know what I mean? I just think that if those individuals, and you know who you are better than anyone, was, you know, we're not, I'm not going to say solid, but if those individuals have consciences, you know, then you've already been talking with yourself. You know, you've already you know you know, you've already been having conversations of what you need to be doing or what you should do. You know what I mean? That is, man. That's what I got to say to that, Pope. Again, though, respectfully, I said to those originals, you know, that I'm addressing this to, you know, always gonna be that. Always gonna be respect. I don't disrespect originals. I don't care where they from. You know, got originals do crazy shit to this day. Not gonna disrespect them. You know, so you brothers know what you need to do, and you brothers know that the community needs you, just like the gang did when you was representing hard as you were. Community need that same energy, man. Need that same energy right now. Where you at? Where you at? I hope that answers the question, Pope. All right, Devin Butchie, man, where you been? Peace and prosperity, loved one. Good to see you, man. Good to see you up in this get down. All right, brother. All right. It's a great, great, great presentation to have you up in here with us. All right. Raymond Skull 102, man. This is our brother, man. He said, Bub, AI can really work for us if we can gain an understanding of business. People in the music industry are talking about creating full AI record labels and AI artists. We need to master AI. And damn, just the fact that I read that comment that quick, my thoughts went to, oh, then that means real live recording artists, rappers, they're gonna be on their way out the door because you could create a rapper using AI now, right? You know, oh shit, that's the competition or the kind of competition, you know, that's gonna kill a lot of these mumble rap cats, these trap music rappers, and everything else, man. Oh wow, they about to get their walking papers too. So it ain't just us working folk. Entertainers very well may be in trouble as well. But to your point, Raymond Scott, yeah, it would behoove us to do that. You know, to get into AI, to learn its functions, basic functions first. Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Polk had said it a few weeks back, you know, and I was even back then. I was thinking to myself, man, Polk, don't think I was against what you were saying. Yeah, AI can be a service to us. It can work for us, you know. But the overlaying issue about AI in terms of what I was attempting to express was that eventually it's gonna do what it's gonna do, and that is it's gonna take over the workforce. Period. At a stage, you know, of its existence, it's gonna create its own maintenance robots, its own codes to repair some in the code that's broken, or you know, just on the fritz, or you know, that's glitching. That's what it's gonna do. That's what it's gonna do. AI is not gonna need human beings to do anything for it or even to prop it up. You know, AI will eventually be its own master, its own maintenance, you know, would be the only thing that it will answer to. AI. That's it. But yeah, in the interim, there's no telling when this will occur. But you know, even the experts are saying it's gonna happen. But yeah, while that time approaches, you know, yeah, it will behoove us to get all the skills we can get in terms of AI to learn how to have a business that could be incorporated in this AI spectrum. You know what I mean? In this thing that AI is doing all over the world. You know, yeah, I don't disagree with you in that or with that, bro. I'm with that, Raymond. I hear you loud and clear. We have to master, you know, AI, know how to use it as a tool that help feed us, pay our bills, you know, line our pockets or whatever the case may be. Yeah, that will behoove us. I'm totally with that. I support that, no doubt. No doubt. You know, no doubt. Great point. Great point. All right. Al says, man, people said the same thing when computers were introduced. Technology will continue to advance at an alarming rate. We as a people have to get on board or continue to get ran over and left behind. And yeah, but I think though the plan is to do that anyway, to run over the people and leave them behind. When you look at how now, see, here's the thing also about computers. Computers have been around since the 1940s, man. They've been around a very, very long time. They became household items, I think in maybe the late 70s, early 80s. You know what I'm saying? But even when that occurred, there was what they called the digital divide. Um, Blacks were left behind. You know, for the most part, computers didn't actually enter into black households until the maybe the mid to late 90s, while white households had already had computers in the 80s in their homes. Does not say blacks didn't have them either in their homes in the 80s. Very few, you know. But my point is, in whatever the technology is that is being presented, whether we create, invent, or innovate it or not, we're the last to get it. That's by design, bro. That's just by design. Now, I'm not saying, oh, woe is us because, yeah, they do this, that. No, I'm not saying that either. You know, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Yeah, man, we know what's going on. So, yeah, there should be an effort by all of us to be prepared for a lot of stuff, man, that's coming down the pipes at us. But right now, yeah, there's AI. There are 3 forms of AI coming into play. We're fucking with, excuse my language, we're dealing with the generic AI, so to speak. We got the artificial intelligence. We ain't got the AG or the GI, you know, the generate AI. It's the second level, and we don't have the AIG and AIS. We don't have. We're sure not going to get the AIS. That's right now. That's from what I've read. Though that's for military applications and stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're using that for, so that it can do what it want to do in terms of what is coded in it. But the AIG is next level right now. Yeah, we're just dealing with AI, and I get that. So yeah, get on board. You know, get on board. I don't disagree with you. Technology will continue to advance, and no matter how efficient or proficient we become with technology, we're always going to be a step behind. You know, I'm telling you, some may not agree with that statement, but facts, man, that's just where it is in everything. You know, that we're going to be a step behind, and that's intentional. That's intentional. So then that means there's always going to be someone with the head start. So while we are getting our feet wet, we're just getting into this thing, man. They've already elevated to another level of technology while we're still trying to master what they allowed us to, you know, what they're dropping in our laps. You know what I mean? I don't disagree with nothing you said, Al. I do agree with it. However, I also take to heart that a lot of what we know to be advancing or being, you know, given to society in terms of technology is just some, you know, some back shelf shit. You know, it's back shelf, man. It ain't, you know, for real, you know. You know, so yeah, try as we might, and there's nothing wrong with, you know, steady striving, trying to get the best of whatever it is that's out there or available to us. We're still gonna be behind the process, and that's just the way it's designed, you know, until such a time we break the mold of how things are done. We interrupt the process, you know. Our thinking tends to be a lot of times that, okay, we just got to catch up to what they're doing. You know, a lot of us fail to accept that, hey, man, stop doing what they're doing. That's how you stop that. But if we continue to participate in stuff that we know is designed for us not to win in, we're allowing ourselves to, you know, to remain in a position of inferiority. That's just the facts, man. But the second we decide to say, hey, man, you know what? If this, if that, it affects their bottom line. It affects how they are able to do things, because we're not playing ball no more. That's the way to get them, man. That's the way to get them, man. We're not going to beat them at their game, bro. We're not. You know? The way to beat them is to do our thing. To do our thing. The majority of us know capitalism is not for us. It don't serve us. It's wicked to the core, man. You know? It keeps a lot of us dreaming that we'll be super rich one day while we continue to struggle, work for others, and then die. We never reach that mark. You know? That's just one aspect. Politics. These politics aren't for us. You know? Not for us. This education. Come on, man. All this stuff, man. But we play these games with them. We participate. That's our problem. That's our problem. Started out talking about how we participate in systems and trends or whatever, man, knowing it harms us. We get brothers, they get on social media and they participate in dropping what they call reactionary videos, and it's all mess. It's all messy. It's all about destroying each other, you know? But yeah, we can only blame them so far. But we have the viewer who wants to be entertained. They're participating. We can't stop this, man, until they stop participating. The same thing applies, bro, with this system that we're in. This is not of our making. A lot of us forget, even when it comes to the Constitution, that we aren't even human in the Constitution. And we got this mindset thinking we can be equal to them. That's where we go wrong. That's where we go wrong, bro. Because we want to participate. Fuck their participation. You know? The first thing we start thinking when we start talking like I'm talking right now is, oh, how are we going to survive? Man, we barely surviving as it is. We've always been in this state. We've always been barely surviving in this country. What's new? Come on, man. We got to think outside the box. We can't think in terms of what they're putting in front of us and to have us think about, man. We got to get beyond that. And until we do, we're going to be caught in this mess. That's the whole game, to keep us playing their game. The first time we stop trying to play, we say we not playing their game, what do? Because see, they realize if we stop playing the game, it's bad for them. What do? Riddle me that, man. What do they do when they see, oh, we tired of playing this game? You know, damn you crackers, damn this, no, nah. What do? They need us to play this game. Without us playing this game, man, you know, they lose. As long as we play this game, they win. As long as they can keep us thinking we'll be equal, we can get it done. You know, we can use the tools they put before us, man, to overcome. They win. And it's been this way, man. There's nothing new under the sun, man. That includes this technology shit. This ain't nothing new, man. It's the same playbook, y'all. They want to keep us trapped in their program. That's why we go through what we go through, because we participate, man. Thinking it's going to get us out of this, man, this mess that they put us in. That ain't the way it's designed, you know? Real spit, man. That's not the way it's designed, bro. You know, respectfully. Yeah, you say time waits for no man, and neither does technology. Right? Folks say, I definitely agree with that, Big Al. Al says, man, capitalism and classism is in full effect as it has always been in the United Corporations of America. The United States, yeah, that's the one. The United States Corporation. It is a business. That's it. That's all. With bylaws, with a constitution, you know. That's it. And in it, man, we're less than employees of the corporation. We're animals, you know. Again, so there's no equality for us in this get down, man, in the capitalist system as well as in classism, you know. They don't even classify us as full human beings. And we the mugs, man. Oh, man, this shit crazy. Yeah. All right, Frederick, I see you up in here, man. Right back to you, 4 of them. There's that salute, man. Peace and prosperity to you and yours, brother. All right. Raymond Scholes said, man, capitalism is the root of these conflicts in the world on a global level and even on a macro level. In these sets, hence the backdoor mentality and disloyalty. Al says, man, if I could dismantle capitalism, what system would replace it, Roscoe? And I don't know if that's geared or if that's directed at Roscoe or the RGC in general. You know, yeah. All right, Alonzo, I see you. Hey, man, I tried to hit you up today, man. You went to voicemail. I left you get out in there, but I'll tap back in, brother. Peace and prosperity. Good to see you here as well. All right, and all hope, you know, wish you well, you know, to you and your family, bro. Lonzo say, Bub, I'm here, big bro. What up, RGC? Peace to everyone. You're going to say we definitely have to watch our own butts. B60 said, man, it's been like that since the pandemic, and not just in the major cities, small towns, and all. Roscoe said, man, I would replace capitalism with socialism. I just think everyone has equal rights to our natural resources, and we all deserve to have equality. Alonzo says, I have some wise words to give in my time. We're going to drop that stick, Alonzo. Yeah, I not disregarding what you said, Roscoe. I see that. I read a lot of socialist books, capitalist books, man, you know. Yeah. The thing about that is that even in those systems, under those systems, there's always somebody controlling it, though. You know? There's always somebody controlling the resources, the goods. And there's always somebody dictating to the people. Always, you know? So I don't know, man. I don't know. Lonzo said, wait a minute. James said, man, I looked up too many of them brothers, most of who are gone, from Raymond Washington to Mac Thomas. I still trip how everything went so bad and got this messed up. Them brothers wouldn't be proud of it. Yeah. Yeah. It actually, it did change, and it did for the worse. Like I said, I had spoke with a brother off the east side, and he uncut, you know, just pure and uncut. He said, man, but it started as a destructive entity to begin with, you know. And when he said that, like, boom, ooh, wow, yeah, all right, yeah, it did started off as a destructive force to begin with, you know. So Alonzo says, man, I feel like, bro, if the gangs could repurpose themselves, for instance, the gang's first priority should not be to hurt black people first, police and white people first, then that would slow shit down. You're going to say Spanish, second, black should be last on the list. Okay, I kind of get that, yeah. But yeah, man, yeah, you know, that energy in that drive, you know, yeah, the purpose of it, yeah, should be reset. Yeah, you know, there should be a new decree, you know, put in place. I don't think that's far-fetched. I actually think that's doable. That's something that could be done, should be done. It's just, again, man, okay, what are brothers and sisters willing to participate in? You know, think about that. What are you know, a lot of us, a lot of our people are willing to participate in bull crap rather than something progressive, positive, you know, purposeful, you know, for the people. You know, most of it is against one another and against the people more than anything, anybody else, you know. So I don't know, man. Okay, James said respect has been lost. That's a huge problem. No one wants to respect anybody. Why? I love to show my elders respect. I love showing my brothers and sisters respect. I love showing everyone respect. Here. Same here. It's how I come off. You know what I mean? And I want, like I said, I want an individual to know off the rip, hey, man, first I'm about respect, man. I can agree to disagree with you, and that's fine. I'll be able to walk away from that. That ain't nothing, you know. I'm getting down like this with you because I'm trying to give you an example of how I want to be, assessed and treated. That's it, man. That's it. Okay, Raymond said, man, I agree with y'all, Thomas, about the activity capitalism right now is being illustrated on a global level in addition to practices of genocide. James Cass said, people are insecure and full of themselves. In their mind, they're thinking, who are you for me to respect? This is called ego and selfishness, greed. These type of people poison our community, big bro. And Roscoe going to say, Al, man, by the way, if you haven't checked me out at Raymond Sco 102, my content is solid. Yeah, that's for sure. And James said, it takes a real man to respect his people. As for those who ain't worthy of respect, I wouldn't give a damn about them. What you going to do for people who don't respect themselves? Talking to a brick wall. These fools be watching too many movies, hoodwinked and bamboozled like a MF. Straight sucker shit. They on that monkey see, monkey do biz. They've been played out and it's watered down now anyway. All right. Polk says, man, there's not enough of us working on ourselves, bub. I respect how you started UTG to put your own Hoover history out there. But as soon as you did all that, you needed to do with that the Hoover stories, your leadership, love for the people, and education quickly led you to fight for all of us. And I want to thank you, bro, for the wisdom and courage, truth to power. Yeah, that, again, everything happens for a reason, man. And that I trust that. I trust that. I don't try to push that on nobody else. I think that when things happen, man, we have to be the individuals to figure out why they happened, why they occurred, and what should come of it once we figure it out, what we're supposed to do with that. That worked the way it was supposed to work. And I was just open-minded enough and receptive to accepting that there had to be, there was going to need to be a transition, from that to where we are now and where we continue to push, or where our direction is headed. We're still on that transitional path. Everything happens for a reason, man. Everything. So it's just a matter of, okay, are we going to figure out, the whys, and the what fors, you know what I mean? That's on us. That's on us individually, Yeah, man. Appreciate that, Pope. You said there's not enough of us working on ourselves, bro. True. Raymond Scott said, right. It's like, right. It's like is going to become autonomous. James said, instead of trying to emulate somebody you've seen on TV or a magazine, why don't you emulate yourself and represent who you are? And that's the real. Too many folks faking the funk, trying to be characters. I think, though, part of the problem with that, and we're talking about individuals getting to the part where they begin to know who they are, so thereby they can, present that, persona, you know what I mean? The character, those characteristics, traits of a person coming into him or herself. Is the problem with that is that we won't take the time to do it. And that to a great degree is our responsibility, but know that there is so much at play. Again, we're talking about this playbook, y'all, that's in effect, that distracts us. If it's not just living life, man, on a level or stage where you're not stressed out from day to day about just normal life shit, if it's not, okay, my bills, this, that, and my baby safe in the street, is it. People rarely, I'll just say it, man, time waits for no one. And that goes as well for technology. People rarely have time anymore. That's by design. That's why they say 8 hours of work, 8 hours of sleep, and maybe 8 hours of, interacting with other people. But they got cell phones and all this other stuff now. So the interaction on the personal level has been shifted to the side, put on the back burner. That's rarely done anymore. You know what I mean? Because now you have technology. But my point is time. Our time is being regulated. Again, y'all, we don't run nothing. We don't run nothing in the real world. We can begin to run these. We can do that. We can get to that point. But in terms of application, we don't run nothing. That system is gigantic. It's monstrous, man. We not, So these distractions are there for a reason. And most of them eat up our time. Because most of us will get into these cell phones, these tablets or whatever, and we'll forget time. Before you know it, you done more time on social media than you do on the job. You know what I mean? Or than you do sleeping, So I think that's part of the problem. That's part of what the issue is, that's my opinion. It's my opinion. Yeah, man. B60 said, man, my homie made a song with AI, and I know he can't sing. It sounds good, but I asked him, what is he going to do if he has to perform live? Perform live. Yeah, what are you going to do? Well, shit, can't you take, I don't know. I think in a matter of time, they're going to have these mics with AI capability to give you the same sound, spread it out over an audience through this mic, and anything in the speakers is hooked up to, hey, it's all possible right now, man. I'm just saying, I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know. Shit. Yeah, what are you gonna do though when it comes time to shit up, what they say, shit or get off the pot. You gonna shit or get off the pot. You're gonna be exposed, that's for sure. Raymond Scholes said, man, it's like AI is going to become autonomous. All right. So in a short time, we have to learn. We have to learn it to benefit from it. All right, I got you right there, Raymond. My bad. James said, man, I look up certain individuals, but I can't be like them. They are unique as I am, although just like Malcolm X, Big Bub, Monster Cody, rest in peace. I admire traits and how they think. And just, I'm like this, man. I ain't no fluff on me. Monster was the homeboy. We were on different levels, man. Monster had certain abilities. He rubbed elbows with cats I didn't. You know what I mean? His reputation was a little higher than mine. You know what I mean? Malcolm, hey man, I can't even compare. There's some similarities with me and Monster. You know what I mean? That dude, man, he had what he had. He was a legend, no doubt. Malcolm, not in the same. We're not in the same stratosphere, hemisphere, atmosphere, man, and none of that. You dig? But I appreciate that, bro. But let's be real, nah. Yeah, I appreciate it, bro. But nah. Folks say, man, salute to our Black kings and queens in the group. We will survive. Black love always. Real spit. Real spit, bro. Real spit. James said, man, if all our people thought like this on the wavelength under the groove, we'd be living in euphoria right now. I hope I said that right. I'm getting tongue-tied. Yeah. Euphoria. Oh my God, I'm sitting up tripping, y'all. Euphoria, excuse me. We be living in euphoria, damn near laughing at everybody else. But the truth is, the joke been on us. The world stays laughing at us, no doubt. No doubt. I don't like people who mess with others for their own personal gains. There's many parasites and leeches like that all over the internet, the industry, the workplace, the corporate world, and the streets. Yeah, they're a dime a dozen, man. And you know, those sin, it takes all kinds. You know, a little bit of somewhere, everywhere. You know, they at work. I says socialism is giving all of the control and ownership to the government as far as business and things of that nature is concerned. And in any respect, they're giving it the control of it to a government. You know, the people, and I think this is the problem. The people have forgotten how to govern themselves. You know what I mean? How to make use of the resources themselves, how to met out those resources themselves. The people have left the task of existing, surviving even, to governments. You know, I don't care, capitalist government, you know, imperialist, socialist, communist, you know. The people have given up on living their lives, you know what I mean? Even individually as well as communally, you know, giving everything over to governments, you know, and governments, as we all know, will separate themselves from the people. The government and people who make up the government never put themselves on the same pedestal or the same level plane as the people. Always going to present a problem. It's always going to be a problem, be they socialist, communist, capitalist, imperialist, whatever. Governments are always going to be a problem for the people and to the people. Governments serve governments. You know, most governments serve the rich. Facts. You know, so I don't know, man. I say, again, see, we've been led to think that we would perish, that we would cease to exist if we just fell off the grid. If we just say, hey, man, no more mortgage, no more, and do what you do, you know. That's what we think. That we would end, that we would cease to exist, that we would be nothing were we to do that. We fail to realize that, man, they need us. We never needed them, man. We just been led to believe, led to trust, led to think that we need them. They need us. Real shit, man. They need us. So Al says socialism is giving all of the control and ownership to the government as far as business and things of that nature is concerned. You go on to say, Al, so what are we to do as a people? Question mark. This is the system that we are in. We can complain or leave the system. So what then? You know, again, let's acknowledge something. Let's acknowledge something first and foremost about this system. We're not in this system of our own choosing. Let's get that straight, right? Can we agree on that? Can we agree on that? We're on this system through coercion and force, all right? When the system rejected us, what did we do? We figured out how to go and do our own thing. Then the system realized it needed us, because to be without us, to have a system without us, then that system would collapse and the one we were establishing would take over everything. So the system forcefully came and destroyed what we were building. It's always done that. It's done that, you know. Integrated us back in the system, got us to thinking now we need the system. That we need this system to exist. It's bullshit, man. So what are we gonna do if we don't do this? Hey, man, we will survive. We gonna figure it. We look, man, and this is the credit, and this is the acknowledgement. This is the faith and energy we don't give ourselves. We don't allow ourselves to know that we're capable, man. We've forgotten, man, who we are. So when we started this conversation and I said, man, what have we contributed? Not just to the world, man, but to us. What have we brought to the table? We've forgotten, man, how to be us. The system needs us. The system don't need you knowing that. Ain't nobody gonna let us starve, man. Hey, man, we don't even know, man, our worth, man. We don't even know how some really see us. Yeah. There are a lot, man, that want to see our demise, no doubt. But there are more who need us to come into our own again. We don't see this, though. We think we need these people, that we need their system to exist. And that's all we want to do is exist under their system. Oh, man, something wrong with that, man. Something's wrong with that form of thinking, that way of thinking. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, man, but Bub, this is what we in. We got bills to pay. I can't go to work. I can't take kids to school. I can't get. We're in the system. Got us locked in the system. Got us locked in it in such a way that hey, man, we fear doing anything other than being a part of the system. That's what it's come to. We fear not being a part of this system. That's how bad they got us. Hoodwinked, bamboozled, man. The system knows better than each and every one of us that they need us more than we need them. You do what black people do, man. Overcome. You know, that's what we do, especially when we do it as a unit. Especially. And that shit spreads like a wildfire, man. It could be in California, man, today. Before the week's end, it's in New York State. And people are saying, hey, man, you never lie. System need us. The effects of that alone will send the market crash, and the people will get the oh shit. Let's give them something. Come on, we got to bribe them again. We have to distract them some more. What more can we do? Come on. By that time, somebody in the South then got hold of this shit and said, oh, you know what? Yeah, man, tired of this shit. Shit don't help us. We help it. And before you know it, it can go as far as Canada. Up north, brothers and sisters, they're like, hey, man, you know what? They need us. We don't need them. We have to learn all over again, man, who we are, man. We have to re-educate ourselves. And we have to accept that education. We have to accept truth. The truth is, man, the system does not work for us. It does not serve us. We serve it. But without us, the system collapses. The system without us will cease to exist. And it will recognize that, man, immediately. Immediately, the system knows how important African Americans, blacks are to the system. It knows. Just as it knows in Africa on the continent. Them brothers and sisters shutting them down. The European system realizes it cannot function without them Africans. But the Africans have realized that, oh, we don't need this system. They need us. Wake up, man. We got to wake the hell up, man. We got to wake up, y'all. Time is running out. I agree. It ain't waiting on none of us. It ain't waiting on none of us. Folks say, man, hey, James, man, I hear you, bro. Trip off of this. A lot of G homies told and taught the little homies wrong while taken from them, and that was on the streets. You continue by saying, Pope, I learned from so many men in prison from all over. Like I said, just some of them from Compton, Big Jonesy, Big Mac Baby, even China Dog, who always kept it real with me because of me being a soldier. All right. Okay, Raymond Cole says Stokely Carmichael pushed for blacks to gain their own equality and on our terms. He felt that we shouldn't assimilate into a society that's been oppressive to our people. Man, our revolutionary leaders, they knew. Some of them, I think, and respectfully, I say this, were confused about which way to go politically. Some were socialists, some wanted to be communists. But one thing they had in common was the fact that they knew this system did not serve us. It was not for us. And they also knew that the system needed us more than we needed it. And brothers and sisters knew that. They knew that. And the system knew that they knew it. So this is why the FBI, the NSA, and all of them, CIA say, hey, man, we got to get rid of all of them. Our system is in jeopardy. Our way of life is in jeopardy. We need them to sustain this way of life. We got to get rid of each and every one of them. Now, right now. And they started falling like dominoes. Come on, man. This shit. Hey. And this is why I think that they trivialize, the revolution that could have been here in the United States. They trivialize it, man. They do. They trivialize it, man. And they do it in such a way that they're like, they put it out there, but they make it so trivial. They take the real energy, the real oomph from it, and we help them do that too. We help them with that as well. Hey, man. Shit. I'll say, man, he said, what does the mean, stop playing the game to what end? I'm not laying down for nobody. I'll forever be an optimist for the sake and future of the chosen coming behind us, which is why I push my children to gain all of the knowledge that they can attain. Okay. And that's the way it's supposed to be. What I'm saying is this, again, we're in a system that we don't control. We will not control. A lot of us took for granted that a black man went into the highest seat in the land, in the world, and he was going to change the situation for his people. Not really black people, not fully comprehending the system. The system, again, it's not designed, the game. Let's call it that. The game is not designed for us to win in it. And especially on a whole. The game is designed, though, for some of us to look good in it so that we see them looking good in it and we want to be a part of the game. We want to be in it. While all the while, That's not the way the game was constructed, was put together. You know, it's not for us to win in it. And they know, they're well aware that, hey, some of these black men and women, they homeschool, they do all the right things they're supposed to do. They are preparing their children for the future. Hey man, that can be, all right. And they know that to be. At the same time, they got think tanks that are prepared for all those eventualities. You know, again, the system is designed to distract us, you know, and a lot of us in the system, we're conditioned to be a part of the system, even when we say we aren't, even when we say we don't agree with it, even when we say we want to dismantle it, we're still a part of it. We still play the game. Not playing the game. Not playing the game is to not play the game, not to watch it, not to be a part of it, you know, not to sponsor it, support it, not to advocate for it, not to do anything for it. You know, not playing the game is wanting to see the game dismantled, destroyed, eliminated by any means. That's not playing the game. That's not being a part of this game. You know, that's how we would end it. Not participating in it. You know, now we can, yeah, man, we got them coming up behind us. But let's be realistic. Let's be realistic. They're coming up behind us in the same system we're in. In the same system we are in, they will be in. That's not a guarantee then of freedom. That's not a guarantee of the individual or individuals, us, namely us, being in the position to do what we want to do in spite of the system. Again, we know that so much is going to be in play that the system's not even going to allow for a lot of us to even call ourselves leaving it. They'll find a way. The game is in place for a reason. And again, I say a lot of us play the game. We know what we're doing. We know the game not for us. But a lot of us, hey, man, we can't beat them. Can't beat them, then what? Then what? And we can paint it any kind of way we want. The fact will remain, our children and our children's children will continue to go down the same path, will play, you know, on the same field that their parents played on if we don't end the game. That's just facts, man. You know, that's just what it is, you know. So the hope is, I think, with a lot of our people is that Africa does get it together. That Africa does present an exit for a lot of us. Well, we can go over there, you know, our people, our descendants can go over there and then build a continent of black people and let them have their shit. You know, and in due time, it will destroy itself. The game will implode on itself. It always does. Most of these games we've been throughout history have all imploded. You know, and this one will too. The difference is, though, with all that has happened throughout history, they always have a contingency, something to build another game. They always have a reset. And we will be in the same, you know, position in the game. We're coming off the bench. You know what I mean? You know, we you know, not owners of the game. We don't help design the game. You know, we don't reap the benefits of the game. You know, we just serve the game. We support it with our presence. You know, our participation. That's it. You know, so again, no matter, you know, and I'm not being pessimistic, being realist, being a realist. The only way The only way for us to beat this get down is to not be a part of it, to extract ourselves from it. That's it. That's it. Anybody telling us, man, oh man, stick it out, we hear black people saying today, oh, it's gotten better. Hey man, if that ain't a slap in the face, they say it. Black people say this. And they're just mimicking the masters. Oh, it's gotten better. It's not, that's not the way it's designed. It's not designed to get better for us. It's just not, So it's something to think about. Yeah, we should, not just the children, gain as much knowledge and understanding as possible. All of us should do that. But to what end? What's the good of knowledge and education if we don't apply it to free ourselves, to extract ourselves from a system that give a damn about us? It does not give one damn about us, man. And again, to prove my point, all any of you have to do is go read the Constitution, this corporation's business plan, and how it deals with its employees, those it employ, those who work for it. We're in there, but we're not even full employees. We're just 3/5 of an employee. 3/5 human. There's no way this serves us. That we're a part of this. There's no way. There's no way, man. So we have to stop allowing ourselves to be hoodwinked and bamboozled. We know the plan. We know the script, man, the playbook. We know. And yet we still allow ourselves to participate with a playbook that means us no good. Ever. Ever. I say that respectfully, All right, folks say, man, you're right about the playbook, and that's why the playbook needs to be revised. It needs to be dismantled. It needs to be destroyed. Destroyed, bro. Not revised. See, because you're talking about just you taking it and then you're switching up shit. You're not rewriting a whole new get down. You're going in there and you're taking out some things and adding some things, but it's still their playbook. The whole point is to discard their play, to get rid of their playbook. Not revise it, but to get rid of it. Do not participate with, don't read it, don't be a part of it. That's it. Okay, so what's in place of that? Our own get down. And again, we come from a people, man, that know, the Jews, well, excuse me, because that's wrong to say that like that. Ashkenazis have taken our history, our everything about us, man. They use our phrases. They use everything, man, to their benefit, But we come from a people, man, and they say this often, but we come from a people great in their endeavors and suffered much. That's our shit. My point is, though, yeah, we come from a people that know how to get it done in the worst of times, in the baddest. Hey, man, it could be hell, and we'll figure out how to have ice water. That's just us. Their playbook means nothing. Should we decide that? Their system means nothing. should we decide that. And again, they know better than we do. Their hope is that we never realize this as a unit. See, they know how to deal with individual, cliques of, patches of people, and, they know how to, but as a whole, on a whole, oh, that's a problem they can't escape from. That's all I'm saying, man. No, don't revise nothing. Get rid of it. Going, Poke, you going to say, and that's all I was saying about the G homies and the mentality that was put down. Now that we see what it is and what it is doing why isn't the playbook being changed when it would help the culture and the future? Again, man, we just real shit. We bought into this shit, man. Just come on, man. Let's call a duck a duck. Look at us, all of us. We bought into it. Yeah, come on, man. That's why we don't see, nothing's changed, because everybody's in. Everybody want to play ball, man. Put me in, coach. And the system say, okay, we got a position for everybody. And some of these positions don't mean squat. They just help us, put down the shit we put down, So yeah, come on, I think it's because, man, our people are afraid, man. Our people are afraid to take ownership, to take control, to give up this nightmare, man, that we've become accustomed to. Our people are scared to dream anew, to live anew. People are scared or frightened of the future. If we stop today, what's going to happen to us tomorrow? They're afraid of that. More than they are afraid of a government that don't give a flying flick about you, whether you live or die, eat or not, have a home or not, medical care or not. They don't care. We're more afraid of leaving a system that don't give a damn about us than being a part of a system that we know can't stand us, man. That's some crazy shit. That's some crazy shit, man. This is how messed up we are. We know what it is. We know the reasons for everything that's going on in our existence here, in our lives here. And we know that same thing could very well affect everybody that's coming up behind us. And yet, we scared to let this shit go, man. We scared to fight against it. We are scared. Yeah, we bought into it, bro. Facts. Pope said, you're right, bud, with the playbook. But what about the people that stay knee deep in it, or knee deep in it, or knee deep in it that won't accept the change? Hey, man, and this is something we also all know. Again, we started this conversation using social media as an example of what's wrong. That's how we started this, right? We were talking about individuals who will sell out. They are caught hook, line, and sinker. They're not trying to get off the line or the hook, man. No. Take me out the water. The water's, man, to that day, man. How do I fit in? How can I get in? Let me know what to do, boss. I'm gonna do it. We don't worry about them. Again, we don't worry about them. We see the play with them. We see that they're part of that get down. You can't, hey, man, these dudes are well aware of what they're doing, and yet they persist. The same thing for game banging. Man, you don't know what they doing, man. You don't want to go do another brother. And here they're like, damn, man, yeah. But then they be like over here, like, fuck that ninja. Know what they doing? Then we got those who cater to this shit. Mamas and daddies who cater to gang banging children. They know what's going on. They ain't saying nothing. They ain't gonna do nothing. We got people that watch, social media sites for entertainment. Know this shit is poison. Know it's toxic, but they continue to watch it. So it ain't them that we got the issue with who put out this toxicity. It ain't the gang bangers per se that we got to trip on. It's those who enable it. It's those who watch the entertainment, who enable it, that we have to start communicating with, man. Amen. Lines have already been drawn. Now that's not to say some of these people won't come to their senses, man, and do the right thing. I'm saying though, right now, man, we already know what it is, like they do. They've chosen. They've made a choice. They've made a choice. Some of them have been doing it for so long, 10 years or better, bro, that even if they said, hey, man, I want to come on this side now, I wouldn't trust them. You know what I mean? I just wouldn't trust them. No. 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 It's like a 50-50 dude trying to go to a level 4. From a 50-50 to a, back. No, man, it don't work like that. You already bad, So, hey, man, I'm just saying. I'm just saying, man. Lonzo say we're doing a Zoom from 10 to 2. On what? All right, Tuesday? Man, you got to see me that link. I'm going to jump in there, man. 10 to 2. Well, no, that was 10 to 12. Excuse me. Yeah. You're holding an Ethiopian Bible study on Tuesday at 10. Everyone is welcome. Yeah, I would love that link, and I'll be there. I need to learn more about that. Real spit. Okay, Al said, man, I will continue to stay the course and let the chips fall where they may. And I think I respect that, Al. I respect that. Oh, yeah, I'll look for the email, Alonzo. Thank you. Yeah, I respect that, Al. Alonzo say, I'm turning to the Most High. That's all I can say for me. Reading, learning, that's it. Yeah. And again, we got, that's the truth. I just said it. Sometimes we have to stick to what we know. Let the chips fall where they may, Let the chips fall where they may. That is a truth for a lot of people. That's just, what it is for a lot of people. And you can't knock them for that. I wouldn't, I know that for me, it would have to be, okay, man, yeah. I'm not going to leave that to chance. That's like leaving that to chance, and when, okay, then if I know what I know, then what do I need to do to, eliminate that, just shit just falling where it may? Nah, man, that's the whole point of all of this, because see, in the system, shit just fall where it may. No matter what we do, it just say, man, shit, it's going to fall where it fall, damn that. From my perspective. Oh man, if I can, then yeah, I need to know how to prevent that shit from falling down like that or happening like that. What can I do to make sure that something different, something opposite of that occurs? I'm not gonna let just shit fall where it may. And they say, hey, that's how the cookie crumble and all that. No, man. Who said this shit, man? And why did they start saying this shit? I'm not buying that. We should want to be, involved, not just in our lives, or the lives of our children, but the lives and the future of our people. And we should never want to let that, you know, fall where it may. You know, we should always want to fight to the bitter end to make sure that it doesn't happen like that. Not if we can help it. You know, if we fighting and we can help it to some degree, then it won't just fall where it may. We're looking for a destination for it to land. We want it to go to a specific place. We want to be the masters of navigation of that get out. We don't want it to just fall where it may. You know? Shit, man. All right, everybody. With that said, I smell my dinner, man. It smells good. It is time for me to cut out right now. Listen, I want to say this. And I want to say this to not just Al, Polk, Alonzo, but to black brothers and sisters, to African brothers and sisters, African American here. Hey, man, we are all we got. We are, man. We are all we got. And if we want to really change the direction of our people, the direction that those coming up behind us will end up going, amen, we are all we got. We have to work together. We're going to have to figure this shit out, man, for real, for real. And we're going to have to be willing to discuss and look at other solutions in terms of changing the paradigm of where all this shit is headed, or how it is, what we see, you know, to be in existence for us. We want to change some shit. We are going to have to change some shit and not leave it to chance or to anyone else. We're all we got, you know. That said, love yourself, man. Love each other, all right? Take care of yourself so that you can take care of another, you know. Power is in the people, y'all. Nobody got power over us, man. Power is in the people, all right? You are, you have been, and you will be under the groove. Everyone have a good night. Peace and prosperity, everyone. Love and respect. Peace.
Count the names, count the bodies, count the victory. Cullen Hughes, Hearst, and writing future history. From the Apollo to the borough to the sphere, where the echo of those Harlem nights still ringing clear. So when they ask what happened in those tenement flats, between the spirituals and where consciousness is at, tell them we transformed suffering to scholarship and song. Tell them we've been telling you we're brilliant all along. The Renaissance will prologue every decade since the sequel. Every black child born's continuation of the people who survived the Middle Passage, survived the Jim Crow laws, and built magnificence from nothing but their vision and their flaws. It's in the sergeant, this is once a less than Panthers, hats, and recitations. Please don't you, I can't stop us. Power sensitive plot to the applause for polls. Need your data, tropes, and constant any problem when the wet just wanna build the season bait. Now don't get the pause. It's just erasing up the times. Plead the markets off the main. Make it honor fans. Turn the neck and love the dirt. Suffer like a kesha. You went from the preaching up on side is each lunch on the shake and untrue seeing vets. Someone the very it's on Gary Land. Be hell in heaven, you see what the bonafide. If wait something for the moderate to keep him full the club and saw the boards to the single land is carried open slowly. Keep us looking on my mother, break your chair and resi for the he and let the visit be. It's every time we keep a spawn.